Tom Mills with the Biz Doc with another question from you and an answer from me. For a quick stat, let's go take a look at news report said Texas might get a stock market. Wait a minute, I thought our stock markets were in New York. Will it be different from the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, or the NASDAQ? I don't understand. Why do we need another stock market in America? Let's dive in and take a look. So, Texas stock market, what is the reason? First of all, major players are tired of New York. This is a true statement. There's a ton of regulation in New York. The New York Stock Exchange has rules, regulations, bylaws that your company to be listed on the stock exchange so you can be traded has rules. So does the NASDAQ. There in New York, more regulation is down, more regulation and constrictions. Now, it's important that investors know that there's a safe place to trade stocks and it's not manipulated, and stocks get out of hand. They put the brakes on them, sometimes called the circuit breaker. They suspend trading like happened at GameStop last week. That is a good thing. It's trying to protect you and me, which we are known as the retail investors. We're not banks with inside knowledge. And yes, the banks have inside knowledge. But nonetheless, the major players are tired of New York. And they want a CEO-friendly alternative to NASDAQ and NYSE, because CEOs really get put through the ringer with everything from Sarbanes-Oxley, which is a set of rules and regulations for being on the market, to talking to analysts, to things like this. And it's really difficult, and it has to be really tight. Now, some of the tightness is done for a good reason, but nonetheless, CEOs say, why can't there be something that's a little bit more business-friendly and protects the retail investor and has a little less regulation and weight on the company? Well, guess what? Who else thinks so? Backers of the Texas stock market include BlackRock and Citadel. Yes, Citadel, BlackRock, they would be in favor of it too. Interesting. Leaders, here it is, they want to cut down on compliance costs. There's so many things you have to do on compliance that many people feel that some of the more onerous compliance regulations really aren't doing anything to be helpful or not helpful to the retail investor and the market itself. It's just sort of like an amoeba. They keep growing and growing and growing. And they say all of this could be simplified. And guess what? Starting over with a new stock market, in addition to what's going on in New York, is what people are talking about. Now then, interesting little bit here. Texas is actually tied with New York with 52 Fortune 500 companies. Oh, so New York is not like the only mecca. Texas is a tremendous economic power, and we're about to look at some other stats on that in a minute. And Texas is very different. Texas is open in terms of taxation, and by headquartering in Texas, the exchange will be close to a new crop of companies, because guess what? Austin, Texas is like a mini Silicon Valley. There's a lot of things happening there, as is Dallas, as is, energy in Houston. So there's a lot going around in Texas, and companies that are emerging, and they got the same number of companies that New York does right now. So let's go take a look. Yes, benefits of lower taxes, favorable regulations, and all that. Now let's go take a look at this. Interesting. Texas is an economy of its own. 2023, which completed 6 months ago, but we have stats on that now, versus 2022 by state. The redder, the better. The redder, the better. Well, guess what? Bright red, so bright red that it's almost USC maroon. That's University of Southern California, not University of South Carolina. Take a look at that. 6% growth that was there. And take a look at some other states. California was good. Some other states were good. Some states were a little less. And some states actually, shrank a little bit. But look at the power of the Texas economy. That's the point. And this comes from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. So this is reputable stats. So the point is, we have just as many Fortune 500 companies as New York. We have Austin, Dallas, Houston, and a big startup scene, especially in Austin. We got new companies coming up, all the stuff going energy, including a lot of wind and solar in Texas. So there is green in Texas, not just oil. And they're growing faster than any other place in the United States during the recovery year, the end of 22, which was the end of the year that the Fed raised all those rates, to the end of 23. The year 2023, the first big year out of COVID, mighty Texas comes back. Florida not far behind it. But guess what? Freedom, liberty, low taxation, and low regulation. And guess what you have? You've got a place where they want to put a new stock exchange. That's this stat. I'll be back next week with another.